All right, thank you very much. It's great to be here. It's interesting when you hear the speeches that we've heard today, you hear of the evil and the darkness that has come by a regime that's ruling with this theocratic dimensions and abuse that put people in repression and oppression. So we had the great opportunity as well to participate last year, and then we had the opportunity to go to Paris. And I want to paint a picture for you because I think the human element is one of these things when we talk about this destruction, the assassination of the people, the pains and the torture that's happening in Camp Liberty and other places in Iran, sometimes we don't make the connection with the people. When we were in Paris and we were being bused to this convention center, to give you the perspective of the size and the magnitude of this event, you walk into this hall and there's over 132,000 people in this hall. And what do they want? They want freedom. Outside the hall, there were buses and buses and buses and people on the grass laying around. There was probably an equal number of people outside the event. See, we talk about 120,000 people here. We talk about the 1,200 people that have been executed. Those are the people we know about. If you meet our Iranian American friends here and our Arizonans here and you listen to their stories, we had one of our people die that lives in Prescott. They were killed. They were murdered. If you talk to our neighbors here, the Iranian Americans, they'll tell you about cousins and uncles and dads and husbands and children that disappeared or were murdered publicly, were humiliated, were dismembered. And it becomes real because you hear their story. We sat in a round table in Paris the day after the event, and we listened to a woman tell a story about her husband being killed, and she literally carried her children over the mountains as a refugee to become free because she was afraid that her children and she would meet the same fate of her husband. That's not some story we read in the newspaper. When you look in her eyes and you see the hurt and the pain and the tears, it becomes absolutely real. Currently, you have Khomeini. And Ayatollah Khomeini, when he was the leader back in the Iran hostage crisis, he had his pupil, Khomeini, right? They're trouncing on a weak American president and leader that doesn't have any footing to stand and push back. So what do? How do we change that? Well, look around. You heard this notion, this cry for unity today? A unified voice and a movement can topple governments, especially when it has righteous intent behind freedom and the blessing of liberty. So how are you active? What are you doing? Some of you are here for the first time. Read more. Learn. Talk to people that you know that are Iranian Americans. Listen to them. Understand this movement of fundamental Islam and this whole notion of radical Islam and what it's doing, and how can you combat it? We have to stand up and push back in a way that's aggressive, that adopts force and fear, because it's a unified movement that's a groundswell that can topple governments. So I encourage you to engage in the process. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here. My family, we're engaged in this movement and fight for freedom across this world. Thank you very much.